Hey guys, new episode today. Today I'm going to be talking about 5.1 home theater packages. The 5.1 game is fairly competitive, lots of options to pick from. So I've tried to do my best to sort of give out 5 recommendations, each with their own sort of incremental boost in performance at whatever price point they sell at. For those who need a basic primer on what a 5.1 system is, it's 5 speakers and a subwoofer, hence 5.1. 3 speakers in the front, your left, center, and right, along with 2 speakers to the rear and a subwoofer. The vast majority of the movie will come through the center speaker because the vast majority of a movie is dialogue. The rest of the heavy lifting is done by the left and right speaker. There's very little that's done really by the speakers at the back. They're responsible more for sort of transitional elements, a bullet whizzing by, a helicopter sort of moving from the left to the right. With that being said, these are my 5 recommendations. My first recommendation is the Polk Audio TL1600. Now, it was a little sort of competitive between this and the Elac Cinema 5, but I decided to go in for the TL1600 simply because overall I felt the presence that I got from the TL1600 was a lot more impressive than from the Cinema 5. Priced at about 60k MRP, which means you should get it for about 54. It is fairly affordable. Again, 5 satellites and a subwoofer, a down-firing subwoofer. So, properly setting that up and making sure it's properly isolated from the floor can make a big difference. The 5 satellites do what they're supposed to do. They're fairly dynamic, generate a relatively large amount of volume from a small package. So definitely something to look into if you're planning on picking up your first home theater setup. Next up, we've got the Monitor Audio Mass 100, or technically the Monitor Audio New Mass 100, which is the newest possible model. Again, active subwoofer with 5 satellites. Retails for about 70k, give or take. Again, very good value for money. It's got a typical monitor audio sound, so it's quite in your face, does really good when it comes to sort of, dynamic content, so explosions and that kind of stuff. Looks, in my opinion, a little better than the TL1600. So based on that itself, I'd probably lean towards the monitor audio simply because aesthetically, I feel that the TL1600s look a little dated. So if you're looking for performance, if you need something that also provides decent aesthetic, I'd go with the Monitor Audio Mass 100. Next up, we have the Elac Cinema 12. The Elac Cinema 12, I believe, is exclusive to India, so you won't find a lot of information about it on the official Elac website. It retails for about 89k, but my general feeling is that you should be able to find it between 70 and 80k, depending on the sale time, etc. Again, a 5.1 setup, so 5 satellites and a subwoofer. However, the biggest difference with the Elac Cinema 12 is that the satellite speakers are full-fledged bookshelves. And so what that means is that they take a little bit of load off the subwoofer. They also can be used in relatively larger rooms. The only potential drawback with the Cinema 12 is that it needs an above-average AV receiver to truly see what it's capable of, owing to the larger size of the speakers and needing slightly more power to drive. So I would, pair these up with maybe a Denon 1700 or even a Yamaha RX V4A. So in a nutshell, if you've got a bigger room, this is probably the speaker kit that I would look at. At number 4, we've got the Paradigm Cinema 100. Similar form factor to the Mass, but they managed to deliver a little more volume and presence overall from this particular speaker setup. Comes in with an 8-inch subwoofer, so most of your bass responsibilities are taken care of very adequately by that sub. Requires a little extra in terms of adequate power from an amplifier, so I'd pair it up with at least a V4A from the Yamaha or maybe a 1700H from Denon. Again, great form factor, doesn't grab too much attention, provides above average performance for the size. A little pricey at about $1.3 lakh. You should get it for anywhere between say 85 and 95k depending on the deals that offer at that point of time. If you have a small room, if you're looking for sort of above average playback from a relatively small footprint, I'd look at the Paradigm Cinema 100. At number 5, we have the Klipsch Reference 5.1 Cinema Pack. This is a very popular option among our clientele. Typically retails for about 1,25,000, so it's slightly over budget, but you should get it for just over $1 lakh after discounts and things like that. Again, 5 satellites and a subwoofer. Has a typical Klipsch sound, so does really well at movies. a little left to be desired when it comes to music playback. But I think that most people picking up the system are focused primarily on movies. Needs a little extra power to adequately drive, so we typically pair this up with a Marantz 1510 or even a Denon 1700H. If you're looking for a setup that will adequately power a medium to larger size room and you watch a lot of movies, a lot of dynamic movies, then I'd go in for the Klipsch. So there you have it. That's my list of my top 5.1 home theater packages under a lakh of rupees. This is, like I mentioned in the starting of this video, a fairly competitive segment. So a lot of the products provide almost equivalent performance, and sort of these 10,000 rupee jumps in incremental cost see token improvements in terms of performance overall. So a lot of your decisions are going to have to be based on, to a certain extent, whether you like the way the speaker looks, the form factor, and things like that. I think a solid choice to start off with, if you're starting on the lower end of the budget, would definitely be the TL1600 from Polk. I think on the higher end of things, I think the Klipsch is definitely the winner at a lakh 25. The other thing that I would also like to sort of bring to your attention is that don't forget to sort of factor in a good AV receiver. Specifically on the higher end stuff like the Klipsch and even the Cinema 12, both those setups need a little extra juice. So it makes sense to invest in a fancier amplifier because it will pay dividends in the longer run. With specific to the Klipsch, you don't get them online. Klipsch sort of prohibits people from selling them online. So if you need to pick up a Klipsch, you can reach out to us on our website via the chat with us button, and we can source you a kit. Everything that I've spoken about again today is available for purchase in links in the description below. We've also got a primer on what constitutes a home theater that you can read through if you'd like. If you've got any comments, suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you on the next one.